Hey, welcome back to the Vault of Cult with your host Chris.
And Marky, alright, gang?
I hope you're alright, guys.
Yeah, we hope you're fine.
Thanks for joining us for another episode.
Yeah, once again.
We're here, we're back.
Yeah, we're not doing too bad with these podcasts, rolling them out.
We're not, no. We're a little bit better on the schedule.
I know, we are a little bit better. They're sat there thinking, it's about fucking time. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, we are, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I was.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us again, guys. We are actually on YouTube now.
We are, yeah.
So you can get us on YouTube, just search for the Vault of Cult.
Yeah.
Give us a like.
Sure, again, the is very necessary because you'll not find us with the Vault of Cult or
you won't find us.
Yeah.
That's why we call the Vault of Cult.
The definitive article.
100%. So yeah, give us a like and subscribe on whatever platform you listen to us on. You can always leave us comments as well. It's always nice.
It's always nice to hear from you.
We've got an email, as you guys know, vaultofcult@gmail. We're on Instagram at the Vault of Cult.
Give us your thoughts and give us your feelings. And again, recommendations. We always say, like me and Chris talk about films all the time. So it's always nice to get a recommendation so we can either go, we're not doing that, or
probably that,
oh, interesting.
Still not doing it.
Do you know what I mean? Still not going to do it because we've got a plan. But
yeah, we've planned way in advance.
But yes, right.
This episode is
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
from 1990.
TMNT. Yeah.
It was a comic book film before there were comic book films, really.
Yeah, exactly. Not a lot of people know that it is a comic book film.
No.
In fact.
No.
But it is. So yeah, getting straight into it. It came out in the US on March the 30th, 1990. It didn't come to the UK, actually, for another 8 months.
Ooh. Not unusual, then.
Not unusual.
Australia have just got it.
Yeah. Honestly, I was looking on Australian TikTok and they're going mad currently about this film. They're like, wow.
Finally.
Fantastic. Can't wait. It's a beautiful film. Beautiful.
Galore.
So
8 months later.
8 months later. So what? Is that in New Year by then? March.
I think it might be November.
Yeah.
We have to count them.
We're counting.
He was counting on his hands. I was like, November. It's November.
Yeah. So yeah, it is 93 minutes long. It's an hour and a half.
We like it.
Straight
away. It's got thumbs up.
Yeah, that is it. They'll know
He's
that.
Just
that's
done a thumbs up.
Yeah. They'll know that that's a thumbs up. They'll be listening to that. As soon as I said 93 minutes...
There we go, we've hit the target, boys. We're at the target.
They're going to be like, they'll like that. And we do like that. So, a tidy little amount of time.
Yeah,
honestly,
we're into that.
And I think it's the perfect length for the type of film that it's trying to be.
Couldn't have gone any longer.
It couldn't have gone any longer. It could not. It had no more scenes in it.
It didn't.
Nothing left in this. So... it's distributed.
Budget. What's the budget? Give me the box office.
Okay, all right. So the budget was 13.5 million.
Very cheap,
modest, very modest, even for back in the day. Well, for 1990, very modest. Do you want to know how much money it made?
I do know actually, but please tell me.
Well, you do know. You've got the notes as well, haven't you? But listeners, it made $202 million.
Right, so to
dollars.
Emphasise the impact that had, when that came out, it was the most successful independent film ever released. Up until the Blair Witch Project
in 9
years later.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it? But yeah, so 202 million domestically, it made 135 million in
Huge
North America, and internationally 66 million.
Not as
that's actually the reverse of the trend that we've normally seen.
And normally it's not
double,
far off.
Double. And from what I get the impression, the two places mainly where it made its money internationally was in the UK, big hit in the UK.
Turtles was huge.
Turtles huge in the UK and Germany. It seems.
Oh,
the Germans like a bit of TMNT.
The Turtles.
Yes, the Turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Man, pure as the Turtles.
Oh,
we've got no listeners in Germany, so
fucking them, no.
We haven't.
Fuck them. So yeah, and so I think the majority of it came from that, really. But just to comment on it, wow, those are wow numbers for 13 million for Tuppence for a film. Tuppence Halfpenny and Dead Frog in it, and a dead turtle.
Don't mention the turtles.
No. That's absolutely no money, and with a massive return for the creators of it. See, we can't even really talk about studios, really, because they're not really. It's more of an independent film. It's outside of the Hollywood system.
I mean,
well.
So produced by Golden Harvest.
This is very your wheelhouse.
I mean, you know, this is Golden Harvest were a Hong Kong production company, and they produced films by Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, a lot of Hong Kong cinema. You know, they literally all the good stuff from in the 80s. They dominated the kung fu. Let's put them in that bracket. It's wrong, but I'm going to do it for the listener's sake. But Hong Kong action cinema, shall we say? They were the powerhouse. They overtook a company before them, which was called the Shaw Brothers. Right. Which Shaw Brothers was literally, they made kung fu films, drama films, horror films, and blah blah blah. And literally, long story short, Golden Harvest were like the next company in the 80s, basically, that were making a hell of a lot of action orientated films.
So the sort of stuff that, like, in the West, because I've never been a particular connoisseur of film, but the sort of things that Bruce Lee would be in the West,
Jackie Chan films in the 80s, like late 70s, early 80s. I mean, if you watch any Hong Kong, if you're partially interested in any Hong Kong cinema, in the late 70s, 80s to the early to mid 90s, you'd see a Golden Harvest title before the film, pretty much. Not all the time, but 90% of the time. They were a big studio kicking out a lot of films at that time. But it was released by New Line Cinema.
Yes, in the West it was released by New Line Cinema.
Known for Nightmare on Elm Street series and the original Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Yeah. Interestingly, in the UK, Virgin Media had quite a lot of the distribution rights in the UK.
Interesting.
Yeah. Big company in the UK at the time was Virgin.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Had various
Virgin
Megastore.
It was a record label.
Virgin Media.
Games, interactive.
Yeah, exactly. So it was
It
was all very Britain in the 80s and early 90s. You know what I mean? Richard Branson, if you want to know, who's
trying to get into space.
Yes,
and he has been for about 30 years.
Trying to get into space. He got to get bless him. So yes, so the main production company was Golden Harvest. And as you say, the most successful independent film. It was based on a 1984 comic book called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
and the original lineup of turtles, they all wore red bandanas. They wasn't color. They only color coded them when they created the cartoon.
Yes, and so it's important that we talk about the 1987 cartoon. That came out,
hugely influential on this film.
Yeah. Although not an adaptation. Not an adaptation of that. This is an adaptation of the 84 comic.
Yeah.
And expressly so.
100%.
But yeah,
we'll get on to that.
I think it's just important to talk about for a moment the impact of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, because I think for a generation a bit older than me, it's very, very your generation.
I was huge. I was well into Turtles.
No, Yeah, because how old would you have been at the time? Like,
The first season, I don't know when it come. I actually don't know when it was shown first in the UK.
1987.
But it came out in 87.
Yeah.
So I was about 5.
Yeah.
About 5.
I feel like for your generation, even though you definitely watched this program, it was doing the same sort of thing as like the Power Rangers did for mine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was
like,
the big thing before Power Rangers.
And then Power Rangers were like mine.
Yeah,
being a bit younger than you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're all right. So, some fun facts to have fun with. It was one of the last projects that Jim Henson directly worked on.
It was his last film he worked on.
He would die in the May of that year. In the May of 1990, would
well,
pass
at least
away.
he's seen it be successful.
Yes, exactly. He didn't actually work a lot. He did do bits on it, but he didn't work on it a lot.
It's Jim Henson's workshop, isn't it?
And he wasn't dying at the time. He died of toxic shock syndrome
after.
Do you know what I mean? He wasn't poorly for a long time.
Okay. And if you don't know, guys, Jim Henson,
famous puppeteer, creator of Sesame Street, creator of the Muppets show, Dark Crystal, and this, but his son Fraggle Rock, Dance Your Cares Away.
What's the dog called in that?
Oh, I forget that.
Bastard.
Yeah. Look, Ma, I caught a Fraggle! Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, one of the last projects he worked on, but his son was heavily involved in the actual puppeteering,
he took
as he very often was anyway. Like I believe we spoke about him when we did the Little Shop.
Yes.
He was heavily involved in doing the puppeteering.
Still one of the best puppets I've ever seen on film.
Yes, yeah. And the reason that it was 13 million, because Golden Harvest initially sort of
it was an expensive film for them.
Yeah, but they greenlit it for $3 million. $3 million. That's all they were going to give it. And the director, Steve Barron,
interesting guy.
Yeah, I didn't know not. He's the guy who did Coneheads.
Yeah,
he did Coneheads, didn't he? Haven't done it as yet, but but Steve Barron, he, when he was brought on, he realised that it was going to cost a lot more than that, because who did they need to do the puppets? They were like, there's no one else we can turn to.
Yeah.
It's got to be Jim Henson,
he's the best of
and
the
he's
best.
going to be more than.
Excellent suits, excellent. I'm a big fan of the turtle suits.
Yeah. Oh, that's the point then. So why don't you give us the director, because I just about jumped the gun on you there.
So directed by a guy called Steve Barron. Like you say, he directed just a couple of. He's not done many films, but he's not a couple of notable ones are Coneheads, Dan Aykroyd. That was a Saturday Night Live sketch as well. That started out as a Saturday Night Live sketch.
Oh yeah.
And then he did Mike Bassett, England Manager, which is quite a funny film.
Never seen it.
It's quite funny.
Never seen it.
I mean, you're not into football or soccer for our American listeners.
Yeah, that's fair.
But this guy, he was originally a music video director, and you want to see this guy's credits of the actual iconic music videos this guy directed. So he directed Take On Me, Aha, Money for Nothing, Dire Straits. He's done Fleetwood Mac. He's done a bunch of Madonna, and he's done a bunch of Michael Jackson.
Yeah, he did all the big names.
And I mean,
from the 80s. From the 80s, he was all over.
And everyone has seen one of his music videos. Everyone 100%. On the planet.
Mate, that Aha music video is
groundbreaking at the time.
It is one of the best music videos there's ever been. Because you just can't take away the iconic visual thing. It's where he jumps into a comic.
Yeah, a comic.
That's it. Do you know what I mean? Very, very clever.
But a Dire Straits as well, Money for Nothing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And your chicks for free.
Yeah.
Well, it's that CG as well. It's the first music video to have computer-generated imagery. So, like you say there, the story is actually based on a comic by Eastman and Laird of a very small, self-financed, very limited run, and how the buzz was started on the comic is it was a very low print run, but a lot of people in the industry caught wind that this was something new. It was ninjas. At the time it was a lot of DC and Marvel, running the show. And this was out of left field.
So different from now, isn't it?
I know. Well, yeah. So yeah, they wrote the comic, which is very, very dark. It was only meant to be one issue. They actually kill Shredder in the first issue. And again, this film is a elongated version of the first issue, basically. Yeah. If you was to read the first issue, this has a lot of the beats and a lot of the meat from the first issue of the original run of the comic. But the screenplay story was kind of adapted by a guy called Bobby Herbeck, and he had dabbled with MASH, which is a really famous 70s TV show about...
very big in the States when
huge.
MASH won.
Yeah. He had dabbled, he wrote some stuff for Different Strokes.
Oh, okay.
Soft spot for Different Strokes. No, the world don't know. Right, and a guy called Todd Langan. He was a writer on the Wonder Years. You know, the Fred Savage. No. Did you ever watch Wonder Years?
No.
Anyway,
sorry, lost on me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cinematography was by a guy called John Fenner. Couldn't find any info. Don't know what else he did.
Yeah, no.
Not a Scooby-Doo.
Interesting about this film. Sometimes... like pinning down facts was surprisingly difficult.
Yeah.
It's not like his normal thing where...
Do you know why though? I think it wasn't expected to be a hit. I think it was a quick cash grab almost to build on the excitement of the TV show.
I don't think a lot of people paid much attention to what was happening while it was being made because no one thought anyone would really remember it.
And I think a lot of people behind the scenes were known for TV work, and especially I was going to get onto the score by a guy called John DePrez. Now, fair enough, he's done the score for Meaning of Life, Fish Called Wanda, and he did all the original 3 films. But we'll get onto that later. But a lot of TV people worked on this film, mate, and I think that shows.
Yeah,
in the style of it, I think in the score of it.
I think it is very, very telly-ish.
The framing of a lot of images.
But I mean, we'll discuss it in a bit. Is that to its detriment or not? Curious, isn't it?
I'll tell you what. Give me some more facts, and then I'll give the cast the actual the cast.
Yeah. As I was saying, the budget grew from 3 million to 13 because they knew they'd have to spend that
That's
money.
A huge difference.
It's a huge increase. And Golden Harvest were, how can I put it mildly, to fairly summarise what they thought. They were not pleased. Mate,
again, you know, all them Golden Harvest, that none of them films were even a third of that.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
No.
Fast, cheap, quick.
Barron was not initially happy with the early scripts, so he decided to take more ideas from the comic.
Yeah.
Because it was a weird mismatch of what the tone of the cartoon and the tone of the
not to get ahead, but I think this film is a mishmash of. I think it's got the actual 4 turtles. They took the 4 turtles from the animated series and everything else from the comic.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. But his initial thought was that it'd be more like of a Roger Rabbit type thing. Of the turtles would be animated.
Ooh.
We'll just leave that hanging there with because I don't know how I feel about that either. Because you can do it and it can look great. I like Roger Rabbit. But can you do it and it all look great with 13 million quid?
No,
you can't.
No.
So it's
don't forget that had Robert Zemeckis directing it, and this had a music video director directing
it. Yeah, no tea, no shade, but we said what we said.
It is what it is.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's not there.
It's not there.
It's not there.
Just facts, actually.
Yeah, but the Henson Company was apparently at first very reluctant about the violence of the film, because he was so used to dealing with children.
But they dabbled in dark fantasy.
No, I know, but is there any...
Skepsis.
I know, but is there anything overtly violent in Dark Crystal?
No, it's just dark.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Jim Henson had done dark themes, but he hadn't done violence. And this is where we kind of have to go on a slight bit of a tangent, which will only be known to us, our American listeners, stick with us. It's quite interesting. The
I know where he's going.
Violence in movies was a bit of a hot topic at the time. Anyway, particularly if it was something that was
in the UK
keenly marketed to children.
Yeah.
Well, even in America, considering Jim Henson was like, "Oh, I don't really know about it."
Well, the thing is, who was he expecting to go to watch this film?
No, I know exactly. But violence in UK cinema, when it's targeted to children, it became a big thing about it. We had a bit of a moral panic about
Again,
like, oh, will someone please think of the children? Bearing in mind,
was Whitehouse dead by this time?
I think she were probably dead. Well, no, she were probably just not like appearing. But there was all you can't market anything violent towards children because it'll make them violent, and it caused the British government to censor for a start. Not just what this film was called, the whole franchise.
Again, the massive change to the actual
massive change to the title. It was not in the UK for a very, very long time. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Yeah,
because there was the thought and the assumption that it would turn kids towards violence, incite violence. And this film was heavily changed, and scenes just cut out, missing from this film because the British government censored it because nunchucks were banned in the UK.
Which is the weapon of choice for Michelangelo. The weapon of choice
for Michelangelo. So Michelangelo is deeply, deeply fucked up in any old style UK version of it that you'd watch. If you streamed it or something nowadays, you'd be fine.
Like I say, we said this before we started recording the episode. Thankfully, and even though they even cut a bit at the beginning of the sequel.
Yeah,
it was that crackers.
Yeah, we did. The government at the time had a genuine moral panic about it. You know, like a bit like for us American listeners in the mid to late 80s when you all had your satanic panic.
Yes,
it's very much that we had a Ninja Turtle panic.
Facts though, yes, facts. They had to change the title of the fucking thing.
Change the title. Even the song.
Hero.
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. It doesn't fit as well.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
So any scene in this film that involves nunchucks was cut.
And so it heavily affects how Michelangelo's shown. It heavily how the foot themselves. Most of them use nunchucks, don't they?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Very, very heavily edited, and the editing isn't bad in a UK version of it. It's not the worst thing that I've seen.
It's not jarring,
but it approaches jarring because you know stuff's missing. Do you know what I mean?
You're like, oh.
So
like weird quick cuts.
I just like it'll weirdly cut back to Michelangelo's face for no reason, and you're like, oh, he was about to twat someone there.
He's not twatting him. He's on the deck.
Yeah. He's done it off screen. He's done it off screen. Meanwhile, Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael knocking everyone down. And so for ages, I know Michelangelo's like the woo character out of all of them. In the UK, I bet you nearly everyone thought he's useless. That one.
Don't do
fuck off. Anyway, we'll get on to that. This I did think was very interesting because we don't normally talk about frames, etc. in film. How many frames per second?
Yeah.
But a lot of the action shots were shot in 22 frames per second in order to have the turtles move quicker when it was sped up.
Yeah.
Because the suits were so heavy of them doing it, so they moved slower.
And do you know what?
Because they moved slower.
Do you know what? I wouldn't have seen that.
Would not have noticed it.
Interesting.
I watched a video about the making of on that there YouTube.
Right.
Okay. And he said that.
Who said it?
I'm not giving a plug. Like we're not giving plugs.
No.
But there's a good review by someone on YouTube. Have a look yourselves.
Tell me when we start recording.
But yeah, really interesting that. Because we don't talk.
No, but do you know what? That is inherent.
Frames,
that is inherent. Because we've not really had to. That's inherent of Hong Kong cinema.
Oh yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I see what you mean.
To make the fight scenes more exciting.
Yeah, make them seem quicker, move
a lot of Jet Li films in the 90s did that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. So yeah, there's some fun facts for you to have fun with.
And did you know? Here's another fun fact. I was expecting to say, but he didn't. I've got a really, really fucking good one here, and this is blew my mind a little bit when I read it. So the director,
yes,
Steve Barron. Mm-hmm. Not long before the end of Principal Photographer was fired.
Oh yeah, I do fucking have that, but
why didn't you fucking say
I lost track of where I was.
You've got your notes in front of you.
I know. But anyway.
Yeah, because the tone of it, they were like,
yeah,
who's it aimed at? This it's too dark for kids, but you've got again. There's a juxtaposition here all throughout this film of the tone of who the turtles are and the tone of the film, the story it's trying to tell.
Yeah. Because the guy who did the score, he was brought in very last minute when Bannon was brought out. Do you know what I mean? Well, sacked. We'll just say it was just sacked. Stephen sacked.
Sacked.
Yeah.
But that's it. I was like, ooh. Ooh.
So yeah.
So I've got one more.
Oh, go on then.
Which I don't know if you've got this, probably, but you've lost your track. So the actress that we'll get onto the cast in a second. The actress that plays April, Judith Hogue, she complained that much on set. They went, she's not coming back for the next one.
I didn't have that. She's not coming back.
She's not her off. She thinks she's coming back for the next one.
She ain't.
She's not. That's fact.
Well, look,
they just went, oh no, we don't. We don't want to work with her.
Okay. Yes, we will. We will shelf her.
She's done.
Oh, interesting. Well, anyway, go on then. Give us the cast, or as much as the cast of.
Yeah, I mean it's quite a small cast, really. Yeah. Again, small independent film. So yeah, like I was saying, Judith Hogue plays April O'Neil. She was in Armageddon and the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, her filmography isn't great.
I mean, she more of a telly person.
Kind of.
Really.
So the only actor that's been in a lot of things that a lot of people would have probably seen him but not know he's from this film. Elias Koteas, he plays Casey Jones. Mm-hmm. And he's been in loads, mate. He's in Zodiac. Mm-hmm. He's just a select filmographer. Benjamin Button. Mm-hmm. And Collateral Damage, the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. You probably never even heard of it. So Jay Patterson plays Charles. He's the April O'Neil's boss at the station.
Yeah.
Michael Turney plays Danny's son.
Yeah.
He's got literally must be the only thing he ever fucking did because I couldn't find anything.
He went off and he did something else. Worked on comics for a while.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
He dabbled. And then went away.
Okay. James Saito plays the Shredder. Mm-hmm. He's been in loads of things. Little character, Pearl Harbor, Home Alone 3, and Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Way.
And then Master Tatsu is played by Toshihiro Obata. Fuck knows what else he was in, mate, because I couldn't find anything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And obviously we've got the Turtles cast. So Brian Tosher played or voiced Leo. Mm-hmm. Josh Paris voiced Raph. Corey Feldman, obviously.
Oh, they were in the suits as well.
No, there was only one actor that did the voice and was in the suit. They were all stunt performers in the suits, apart from Raphael.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah,
That's not what I read. That if they voiced it, they were the ones in the suits, but not for the action scenes for obvious reasons.
Yeah. No, so Josh Paris was the only act. He was in the suit and did the voice.
Oh, okay, all right.
But the others were Hong Kong.
Oh, they all have a cameo.
Yes,
they all have a cameo. The guy playing Raph is in Taxi. He's the guy in the taxi, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where the
he's the guy. He's the guy. He's the only one I can remember. He's the taxi. The guy who plays Leonardo.
Leonardo. He drops. Brian Tosher.
He dropped something down there.
Oh, the pizza.
Yeah.
Is he the pizza delivery guy?
That's it.
The pizza delivery guy. Oh, right. So Robbie Rist voiced Michelangelo, and Kevin Clash voiced Splinter. So that's pretty much the cast wrapped up.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah. Not many characters in it, and he was like the police chief, but I didn't write him. You know I didn't write him down.
But he doesn't believe in the Foot Clan and stuff like that.
No.
Rah 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 rah.
So the plot.
So the plot.
The plot. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles follows the Turtles on a quest to save their master, Splinter, with their new allies, April O'Neil and Casey Jones from the Shredder and his Foot Clan. Mm-hmm. So basically, this is their first mission.
Yeah.
It's a first mission film.
It's an origin story.
Yeah, it is.
Their very first mission. So, right.
Off we go.
Interesting. Firstly, I don't want to start too much with the negative, but this might sound like a negative. I think what people would be watching this now, they might find a bit off-putting about it. And people actually said this at the time as an adult, was that the humour is a bit childish.
And that comes from
the Turtles.
Yeah, the Turtles themselves.
The Turtles. However, I would defend it. They're literally teenagers.
Yes. 15 years old. They're
15 years old. And so I think it's deliberate. It's deliberately done so like that. Because they're literally teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I think when I was watching it, I was a bit like, if they say cowabunga one more time. And then I was like, yeah, but they're teenagers in 1990. Do you know what I mean?
I think a lot of their dialogue was they from the cartoon, from the animated show.
But that brings me in. What do we think of the tone of this film?
All over
the place. All over.
And again, I think it is one of those films that it's the tone of it is. Again, it's the juxtaposition of the actual tone of the story, what you're trying to tell, and it being quite a gritty thing, just like the comic. Really gritty, the comic.
Yeah.
But then having to have the appeal to children, a la the animated show.
Do you know what the aesthetic reminded me of?
It's a TV movie.
Well, that's not what I was going to say. It reminded me a bit what they were going for of the Warriors, a little bit, the city. Do you know what I mean? Well,
again, the opening scene is all right, where you can tell that crime's
do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, though? I don't think it's a direct homage, but it was just the immediate thing that I thought about.
Like a rundown city.
The rundown city.
It's like you're insurmountable odds, and you have a small group, and you've got to work together and play in each other's strengths.
Do you know what I mean? Can you see what I mean?
I didn't think that at the time, but that's an interesting point.
I found it reminiscent of the Warriors.
Okay.
And not necessarily in a story beat way, but in a tone and an aesthetic way. But I think it's sometimes juxtaposed with what is the very childish humour of the Turtles.
Yeah.
But equally, I don't think that's necessarily a negative, because it's literally in the title that they're young people, they're teenagers. Do you know what I mean?
It's 15, aren't they? Because Splinter references it a couple of times. He's like 15 years ago.
Yeah,
I think it's good how each turtle is kind of fleshed out, and it's given a bit more.
Oh, there's some genuinely good scenes between each of the turtles.
Yeah. Genuinely really
not
good. Not cringy or anything like that. I'm with you, yeah.
There's really good scene where Leonardo and Raph are always at each other all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Because it's the rebellion versus the
leadership one.
Yeah.
Right. Just in case anyone doesn't know, it's always been Leonardo leads. Leonardo leads, Donatello does machines, Raphael is cool but rude, and Michelangelo is a party dude. Like, I'm sorry.
I like it. I like it. We're expecting that, but I like it.
Is that not the song? That's the song.
That's from Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Hero Turtles. But yeah,
that?
there's always the dynamic where Leonardo is the leader and Raphael is technically what you call in storytelling terms is what you call your lancer or your second who's meant to poke at your leader for a while.
Because it's that bitterness that he's not the leader. Yeah. But he's not capable of it.
Yeah, he's not capable. He doesn't have the mentality. And everyone knows that. And Raph knows it really.
He does, yeah.
Raph knows
he's
it
the
really.
Hothead.
He is the hothead. Really good scene where they're arguing over what they should do and how they should go about saving Splinter. Really good scene.
I genuinely like the
dynamic between
and the characterization of each individual.
I really there's another really good scene where Raph is sort of they're waiting for a pizza and he's talking to Donatello and they're talking about like Splinter and stuff and what we're going to do. And it's genuinely heartfelt. It is genuinely heartfelt.
It's a huge plus for me about this film. That I think that what makes it just work.
Yeah, I think the Turtles and Splinter, they have, and I think it's the core of the film, a genuinely strong family dynamic.
Yeah.
Strong family dynamic. Yeah, they call him Master all the time, but that's not the vibe that it's giving. It's giving father is their father.
Yeah. And
do you know what I mean?
And it, without saying it explicitly, you know,
that is the dynamic. And really good work. Really good work through puppetry. Yes, there were men in the suits, but the expression given by each of the turtles and that Splinter puppet.
Great.
Right, great.
And do you know what? Just
tippy
toppy, right? Do you know what, mate? It's dog shit in the second one.
Yeah, no, it goes
bad, downhill. But the turtle suits are better.
Yeah.
They look better, and
Splinter gets progressively worse. Yeah. Until by third one, Turtles in Time.
But eat that. Yeah, really good puppet.
But really good puppet. Expressive, and it has some genuinely good shots.
Yeah. And I think. Do you know what I've noticed? There's a lot of shots in this that look straight from a comic book, and I really like that. Yeah. I really like that.
Which one? Now I've not read the comic, but the one that I thought looked genuinely
the comic's black and
like
white, by the way. Apart from
I know
the
it's
red
black.
bandanas.
I know it's black and white. Well, in it, just the cover where they have the red bandana. Yeah.
But it's a black and white comic.
Do you know one shot that I really liked of Shredder? When
what
he was
a cool
walking,
design! I quite like
great
it.
Design.
It's the perfect 90s aesthetic villain.
Yes, I get exactly what you mean.
I was like, it's cool.
One shot that I really liked it's from above, and when Shredder goes to give his speech to the rest of the foot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, in the warehouse.
And it's from above. Right, and you can just see him, and he's got a cape on, and he's walking in, but his shadow is casting this huge, long shadow, and I was like, that, great shot. Tippy top, that. They were like, that is a 10 out of 10 shot.
There is some really, really nice shots in this.
Nice,
and you can see where the direct, where he's got the eye for framing an image.
Yeah, just a couple of shots where I'm like, oh,
yeah, I'm with you.
Tippy top.
Yeah, but I hadn't noticed that one. But
but that was the one that I was like really where I thought that's like out of a comic with the shadow.
Yeah, there's loads of images out of that film that do look like a panel out of a comic book.
As the shadow crawled across the thing, brilliant shot, brilliant.
It's quite easy plot, easy to follow.
Very easy to follow.
It's Gossamer thin, as you say.
It's Gossamer thin. But I think
not to its detriment.
Not to its detriment. I think the plot is exactly the kind of thing that this sort of film should be. It's literally just a rescue plot. It's literally that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's Splinter gets captured by the Foot, and the Turtles have to go rescue him. And interestingly. Do you know what I really like? With them being 15-year-olds, with them being teenagers,
big thing.
They're not really interested of what the Foot's about. Yeah, they don't really care. I want my dad back.
Yeah.
I don't. What are you trying to do? I'm not bothered. give me my dad back.
But you know, the good counterpoint to that is, I think, and I've wrote, this is one of my notes, the way they represent that part of the story is through April O'Neil. Without April O'Neil, I don't think any of that, it doesn't work, because she's the most grounded character in the thing. She's the most sane character. She's us.
Yeah.
You know, and she's the first one, and it explicitly, you know, she's trying to expose what's behind this crime wave in this this crime wave that's just getting worse and getting worse and getting worse. And they're trying to...
Because she's a journalist.
Yeah.
But I read in the comic she's not a journalist. She's a scientist in the comic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think, because I didn't know that, but I think that's a better change. Is she a journalist in the cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
she's a news reporter.
She's a news reporter.
She's always
because she's
in
very
the van
because she is very this.
Yeah.
She's very much that. So I think that's a positive change where there was like, because right from the beginning, because she literally frames the film pretty much in terms of, thanks plot summary girl, but you know.
No, but I think that and that's I think they've done it really well.
Yeah, no,
they've done that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the very few live action cast that would? Do you know what I mean? How is the acting? You would say.
I think the character that stands out to me is Elias Coutiers, who plays Casey Jones.
Yes,
he's got bags of personality.
Bags and bags
of it. April's not the... even though she's probably the heart of it, you know...
I don't think she's bad.
She's not bad. I think Casey Jones is probably
I think she's dead telly.
Yeah.
Right, and that's not... right, telly is a very different thing now than what it was then. It was...
It's a TV aesthetic.
There was two tiers of things that you would... The stuff you'd watch on telly and the stuff you'd watch...
Yeah. There was a big difference.
There was a big difference then. But this, I think you're exactly right. Although it has a very unique visual style, its visual style is very rooted in a television show.
100%. Yeah.
And I think at times the plot almost seems a little bit like that because of how gossamer thin it is. I think it can appear a little bit episodic in how it moves the plot forward. It's not too bad and it's not to its detriment.
I think the script knows it's silly and fun.
Yes.
But also I think the visually, that's where maybe the darker side of it comes.
Yeah.
You know, and I think because of the way they've handled the character of the Turtles, the way that the design of Shredder, you know, it's one of them films that what's the saying? It's the sum of the parts.
Oh,
do you know
the sum
what I mean?
of its parts. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But that's not to say that I'm not got. I can pick. You know, I'm about to tell you some of the stuff that I'm like.
Yeah.
You know, which holds it back.
Yes.
But don't forget, at this time, no one was making comic book films like... No one was making films like this.
No one.
It was literally one... You know, it wasn't until 8 years later when Blade...
when did Batman... Yeah, when did Batman come out?
Batman was 89, so it was the year before.
Right.
So people were like, oh, comic book films might be a way into the industry.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But apart from Warner Brothers, who could market a thing and spend... tens of millions of dollars.
And let us not forget that this was made on a shoestring compared to thing that Warner Brothers...
Low budget independent film.
Compared to what Warner Brothers can throw a Batman film. Do you know what I mean?
And you've got people, you know, working on the type of people... Again, a lot of the behind the scenes on this were from TV. And...
I don't think it hurts its TV aesthetic.
No, it doesn't. And again, it's a product of its time.
Yeah.
You know, even the colour palette... muted browns and greys and... Do you know what I mean? Again, moving on to the stuff that I can kind of pick holes on. I think the score's dog shit. The score's like it's TV, it's 2 TV.
I didn't mind the score.
Really?
I didn't mind the score. But I think with it seeming so TV... I get what you mean.
Yeah.
With it being TV. But I think it fits the film.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't heartily dislike it. I don't think it's a memorable score
No, totally
at all. But I wasn't put out by it.
I don't know if you noticed this, but you know the flashback scenes where he's telling you the story of how he found the turtles and he found these and mate that's like filmed on 8mm. The quality drops massively.
Yeah. I think it was a choice. I just think it was the wrong choice.
It was.
I think they intentionally did it to be like he has hazy memory of it. Do you know what I mean? Because it was hard for him to remember. You know when they would. I get what they were trying to do, but it's not. She's not the one.
And considering it's a film about ninjas. I don't think this director can direct an action scene. I don't think the fight scenes are much cop. And consider it's Golden Harvest as well. I was fucking surprised rewatching it.
I didn't mind them. I
you know, they should be dynamic and impactful, but none of them are.
I thought. I don't know. I feel like they're a bit. They're a bit PG-13. I get it, but. I thought they were relatively well staged. Like I didn't like.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, maybe because I'm used to more of the Hong Kong aesthetic. You know, they obviously.
Bearing in mind they were trying to appeal for this for Westerners. Do you know what I mean? The Hong Kong market wasn't the market for this film, and it was never intended to be.
That's a fair comment.
Yes, they've got.
I just think for a film about ninjas.
Yeah,
the fight scenes don't excite me at all.
They're not exciting, but they're not supposed to be exciting. They're supposed to be fun. They're not exciting. You're right. If that's your criticism, I get where you're coming from now. They're not exciting. They are more meant to represent like who they are.
Yeah, it's just necessary scenes because that's what they have to do.
Each of their particular fighting style. You know what I mean? And
does this film have a case of an undercooked villain?
Yeah.
Underused,
underutilized because it's a great aesthetic. It's got good voice.
Yeah,
as well. Good voice, great.
Could be super menacing with really the right writer and the right tone.
But I don't think they get it at all.
And is the ending anticlimactic?
Well, it just ends.
Just ends, doesn't it?
Just
like he's gone.
Oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
All right then.
It's better than the sequel though, where the thing just falls on him. Dog shit.
Mine.
Go on.
I've got
what character stood out for you? Outside of the turtles themselves.
Outside of the turtles,
you've not got a big choice.
Not counting Splinter.
Well, just in general, then go on.
Well, Splinter. I think he's a really good use of that trope of the master in a bit of peril, and I really
they give a rat personality.
A lot of personality. I think he's the standout character of this. I do like Casey as well. I think he's really good and totally different to how he is in the cartoon. Incidentally, mental in the cartoon, mental. Whereas in this, he's just a bit.
And in the comic, he's a psychopath.
Yeah, he's literally mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's a well utilized character, and they wouldn't use that character well again in any other iteration of that character because he appears in the third one as well. And waste of time. Waste of time. It's a glorified cameo. What have you bothered for? So I think that's the only one where they knew what to do with this character. But I think my standout is Master Splinter.
I get that.
I think in many ways because he's the one they're going to save, and the puppet is so good.
Yeah.
And the voice for it is
It's a perfect example of the wise master. And,
exactly. So I have a soft spot for that. But my criticism of it I've said it before about it. It's a bit disjointed.
Very much.
It's a bit disjointed. Is the tone of the film?
Again, I said at the top of the shop where this film is a constant. It's battling, does it want to be the comic and have something gritty and different, or does it want to appeal to children, a la you using the personalities from the cartoon?
It's
and that holds it back.
It's neither here nor there.
No.
And I think it's shot for both and achieved
For neither. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Correct.
Really. So it's very interesting to think about that. And I have to say, the dialogue is very 1990s, and I can see how it would put people off because it's a bit cringy. Again, like if I hear the word cowabunga or anything like that, again, it's a bit like
cringe.
Yeah, it is a bit cringy.
Oh, did you notice that line when Raph says, who says to Casey Jones, "You're claustrophobic"? He went, "I've never looked at a man."
Oh, yeah. Gay joke.
90s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Early 1990.
This is possibly... This is one of your... It's not there, but with the villain and how it's framed, it's a little bit of a yellow peril.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think in a nasty. The Japanese. It's a bit yellow peril-y, and
but I think that was something to do with like politics and economics at the time as well. It's not there.
It's not there. It's not there. I think it's.
Oh, the shit!
It's a bit.
I do love that voice.
I think it's a bit racist in that I don't think it means to be, because it's a thing from 1990s. It's looking back now. It's a bit
okay.
It's problematic in the same way that like Big Trouble in Little China is a bit problematic. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just a bit.
That's another level of problematic.
Yeah, no, but it's not like it's got a bad heart. It's not like it hates Asian people. It's just that's how it was back then. So it's like it's not there.
Yeah.
So
legacy,
a huge legacy.
This is a multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Yeah,
it covers. It's all media. There's obviously there was the first 3 films. This one, Secret of the Ooze, dog shit. It's even more. It's just even more aimed at kids. Bad. And then Turtles in Time. Wow.
Well, Turtles in Time, right? Because here's the thing. I was not even 1 when this film came out. Turtles in Time were the first one that I watched and remembered watching.
They travelled back to
feudal Japan. And I really liked it. But I was a literal child. And I liked it. Oh, they had a magic Turtles.
Magic time travelling.
I went back then and watched the other 2. And this one is by far the best one. But I've a soft spot for Turtles in Time just for its nostalgia for me.
Okay.
But the Ooze one. The second one.
Oh, it's bad.
Bad. She's not a great film, is she?
No. I watched it again.
Outside. Oh, recent. We've got Frog.
Straight after number 1. Straight after.
God.
And it was like,
Swerve.
Wow.
Swerve.
Totally different thing there. This one. Totally different.
But what about the franchise as a whole? Because obviously,
we'll start a comic.
Yeah.
And then TV series, then this film, then another film, then another film, and then after that a live action TV series, then multiple series.
There has been, by the way, a number of really good cartoons.
Yeah. Like critically acclaimed.
Like really, really good. There were one that were out when I were about 13 or something like that. Banging.
But again,
it's
action figures, toys.
Yeah, huge.
And even they made 2 modern-y films, Michael Bay type style.
Dog shit.
Don't watch them.
Dog shit. Don't watch them. 2016 and 2018.
I don't think since the original animated series aired, it's never not had anything.
Yeah, I can't think of the time.
Huge,
because this is genuinely.
Paramount eventually bought it as well as a brand, and they bought it off the Eastman and Laird, the original creators.
Yeah, they bought it, and
they made
slight criticism.
Millions.
Yeah,
millions. This is a brand.
Paramount. Just to yell at Paramount for a moment, they have made this film that we've just reviewed practically inaccessible in the UK at the
I didn't know that until you told me before.
Practically inaccessible. It's not on Paramount Plus. You can't get it on Amazon Prime. It's nowhere on Netflix.
In the UK,
in the UK, in America, I think you're fine. I think it's on Netflix. But this film nowhere, expunged from the record practically.
Because I had it. You know,
do you know what I mean? Yeah. Expunged from the record. I had to go and buy a physical copy of this freaking film.
That's crazy.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
fucking sort it, Paramount. And it's because, leading us into his final point about it, they've just brought out a new, which neither of us have watched, but we're very intrigued by it. Looks interesting.
Mutant Mayhem,
Yeah, looks interesting.
I will get round to watching it.
I will get round to watching it because, like, as you can probably tell, we are a fan. Of the
fan of the franchise.
Do you know what I mean?
Soft spot again from I was there at when the TV show, and then you got with the films afterwards. Yeah, and I was a huge Turtles fan. I had loads of figures and I had the car and everything. Or the van.
Yeah.
Right. So go on. You go first.
Right. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
Okay.
I think that's worth pointing out. It's a very disjointed film, but it's got a lot of heart. There's a lot of heart there.
I agree.
And there's a lot of heart in the characters and in their family dynamic. Like we said, it's so good. There's real good stuff there. But it's got a lot holding it back as well. Not least because it just simply didn't have the ready cash to be any bigger than it is. Do you know what I mean?
They did the most with what they
did the most amount,
I think.
But there are things that were in their control. Don't cost out for a good screenplay. Well, it does, but it's still well within your ability to have a good screenplay. And is the screenplay good? It's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right. So I'm gonna give it a 7 because I enjoyed myself.
Okay.
Do I think it all the time deserves it? No, at times I think it deserves a 6. But then there's really good stuff in it that I really, really like the dynamic. So I think I'm going to be as fair as I can be and as nice as I can be and say this is a 7 of the film because I enjoyed it.
Okay, and I'll match you. I'll match you because I think it's probably the best live-action Turtles film we're ever going to get.
100%. 100%.
Do I think it's one of those lost cult things? No.
Right.
Do I appreciate that it kind of has a niche following because not only was it an interesting film because these comic book films at the time and the money it made, kinda. But it does have redeeming features, but then it doesn't have enough of those redeeming features for it to kind of trying to be punching above its weight.
No.
It doesn't.
It's exactly the weight that it is.
Exactly. It knows its division, and we're playing in them lanes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll meet you at a 7. I have a massive soft spot for it.
Yeah.
And it's not a shit film, Mark.
It's not a shit film.
It's not a shit film. And again, I genuinely believe it's the best Turtles film ever made and we're ever going to get.
Yeah. Certainly live action. We'll wait and see what they...
Okay, well, the animated one.
But certainly live action. I don't think you're going to get any better than this,
no.
Are you, really?
No.
Well, evidently they proved that. Do you know what I mean? There's been 2 franchises of live action. There's this one and the Michael Bay one. Yeah, and this is by far the superior.
And then the second one is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the second one called Out of the Shadows.
Yeah, it's the aesthetics of Transformers, but with ship-rided up turtles.
Great summarisation. Do
you want to watch it? Don't.
Just watch this.
Yeah, just watch this. You'll have more fun.
And again, I had fun, and I've always had a soft spot for this film. But a 7, it's a solid 7.
It's a 7. It's a 7 all day.
7 all day.
Yeah.
And again, it does have its redeeming things where I do see it how it's stood the test of time, and the other 2 haven't.
No
one ever talks about Secret of the Use or Turtles in Time.
Do you know what I mean? No one, and
this is the only one that gets re-released, especially and a newer version's not long come out.
Yeah.
So
Not in the UK, like.
No, it's not. It's an Australian release.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like a super duper 4K scanned. And,
but like we say, we've had a Paramount probably a bit touchy because we've had a troubled past as this country with the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? Anyway, thanks for joining us,
Thanks for joining us, guys. Yeah, like I say, we're on YouTube now. Search for us, The Vault of Cult.
Yeah.
Get us on the Gmail, vaultofcult@gmail.com. Give us a like, a subscribe, comment on any platform that you do listen to the show on. And we hope you've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And we'll see you soon, guys.
In a bit, Skip.